everyone who voted for Trump and who's absolutely appalled that they're losing friends or having their friends question their morality for voting for that guy is full of shit. Right? Because you do understand it. If I dropped you off in 1940s Germany with the friends that you have now, and half of your friends decided to support Hitler and support putting Jewish people in concentration camps, I don't think you'd be friends with them. And if you said you'd be friends with them, you're lying. So the problem isn't you don't agree with the concept. The problem is you don't agree with the line that's being drawn. You don't agree with people who are drawing the line at supporting MAGA for being that line to cut you out of their life.
So Republicans are upset because they are losing friendships, they're losing followers over their support of Donald Trump. And I just want to remind people that this is the same exact thing that happened in 2016. This is a piece I wrote for The Guardian after Trump was elected. Someone had accused me of vote shaming, and as I pointed out, it is okay to shame someone for doing something shameful.
Trump voters are losing family, losing friends, losing people they've known for decades. And apparently they're shocked about it. Welcome to one of the messiest conversations happening in America right now, where political votes are turning into personal betrayals and dinner tables are turning into battlegrounds. We're breaking down real people, real reactions, real relationships getting torched in real time. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's get into it.
Would you be friends with a Trump supporter?
No.
No? Why not?
Morally, what he's doing is very wrong. And if you can't see that, and you can't relate to that and what I'm, about, then we're just not going to be friends.
See, this is where MAGA dudes always fumble. They hear pain and respond like it's a debate club prompt. Bro, not every conversation is your chance to hit somebody with a gotcha and a podcast voice. If someone's talking about families getting split up, your first move should be curiosity, not defense. Ask one clean question. What part of this feels most personal to you? Then shut up and actually listen, because half these guys don't lose relationships over voting. They lose them over acting emotionally constipated and smug at the same time. You can disagree without sounding like a customer service chatbot for a billionaire politician.
I respect you, though.
Yeah. I'm a Trump supporter.
Sure.
I voted for him.
Sure.
And I support what he's doing. And so if you could maybe just give me something, like you just said, if you can't see what's going on and whatever, is there something that I'm not aware of that's going on that I should be upset about, like he's doing?
I'm not necessarily say upset, but more or less just being aware of, even just the ICE deportations, what's going around. So for me, I understand that boundaries.
Okay, so she's coming from a genuine place here. The ICE deportation stuff, families being separated, that's real pain she's describing. But here's what's wild to me. She's conflating two totally different conversations at the same time. The friend who said, I support what he's doing, didn't say she hates immigrants. Those are not automatically the same thing. This is exactly how these conversations fall apart before they even start. Someone feels strongly about immigration policy. The other person hears, I want to destroy your family. And now nobody's actually talking. If you want to change somebody's mind, leading with, you're morally broken for disagreeing with me, is the worst opening move possible. The dude was literally standing there asking her to explain, and she basically said, figure it out yourself.
Are in place in order to protect people, but there's nothing wrong with allowing people here for a better life. And for me, going after just a quota number in order to get people out of the country when they're coming here in order to survive and do something better for their families is seriously wrong. I mean, that's just the icing on the cake. That's just what's happening now, right? I mean, that's just a 1 in a million. But I don't understand how people can't even relate to that. Just have the humanity to understand that people here are just trying to survive. Not breaking people from their families is just really, really harsh.
You guys, my dad literally...
Facts, and this is where a lot of MAGA guys get real entitled real fast. They think family means permanent access, no matter how reckless they get with other people's dignity. Nah, bro, DNA is not a lifetime VIP pass to disrespect somebody and then demand pie on Thanksgiving. Practical rule, if you want family ties to survive political differences, stop trying to win every room, set limits, no baiting, no memes at the dinner table, no cornering cousins into Fox News debates, no acting like empathy is weakness because some of these dudes swear they're being cut off for one vote, when really they've been running a 4-year campaign of being insufferable and then calling it honesty.
He just got punched in the face for being a Trump supporter. That was it, just for being a Trump supporter. And I'd do it again. Bop, bop, bop. You guys, my dad literally just got punched in the face for being a Trump supporter. That was it, just for being a Trump supporter. And I'd do it again. Bop, bop, bop. You guys, Hey
everyone. So I'm just here to help anyone out who doesn't understand why how you voted in the election is strictly a difference of opinion that we can all just go on with. So a difference of opinion is you like coffee and I like tea. Maybe you can't stand tea. I know I don't like coffee, but that's okay. Like, drink your coffee. I'm totally cool with it. And you're totally cool with me drinking tea. I'm not forcing it on you. When you vote to outlaw tea and punish tea drinkers, that's no longer opinion. You've acted on that opinion to put yourself above tea drinkers. And now, because I'm a tea drinker, my life's in danger. Because I could be punished just for liking tea. So that's not a difference of opinion. You've made an action. You've made an action that's endangered my life and the lives of so many other people. So it's not a difference of opinion. You've made an action. And the consequence is that there's some people who are not going to be friends with you.
Okay, the tea analogy was actually pretty clever. I'll give him that. But here's where he loses me completely. He's treating a vote like it's a direct personal attack on his safety. And look, I get it. Some people genuinely feel that way. That's real to them. But by that same logic, every single policy disagreement in history becomes a reason to burn. Every bridge you have. Your Republican grandma voted for Bush. Does that mean she was trying to kill you too? You took an action, not just an opinion. Framing sounds philosophical and clean, but it basically just gives you permission to never have a hard conversation ever again. And the MAGA guys who are now shocked, bro, you knew this was divisive. You can't be out here acting brand new when people respond with emotions.
Anymore. And there's some people who aren't going to have a relationship with you anymore. And the reason for that is because we don't trust you. You voted to put yourself above us and to punish us. That's not an opinion, that's an action. I have the right to make myself feel safe. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making myself feel safe. I'm making the other people around me who are now in danger, I'm making a safe space.
Now see, she's blaming the media, but MAGA bros love that excuse way too much because it lets them dodge personal accountability. Like, sure, outrage media is poison, agreed, but nobody forced you to become the guy forwarding 15 conspiracy clips before breakfast. At some point, you chose the algorithm over actual conversations with humans who know you. Real tool for today. Before you argue politics with anyone you love, ask yourself, do I want connection or do I want a win screenshot for my ego? Because if it's the second one, log off and go touch grass immediately. A lot of these friendships didn't die from disagreement. They died from people becoming unbearably performative, especially the dudes who think every chat is a chance to own the libs.
For them too. So this is not an opinion. You took action, and these are the consequences for your actions.
And here comes the part MAGA bros hate, the reminder that this backlash is not new. They act like every lost friendship is some mystery box, like, wow, who could have predicted public support for chaos would affect my private life? My guy, if you make polarizing politics your public identity, people are going to sort themselves accordingly. That is not rocket science. The real mistake is thinking free speech comes with free closeness. It doesn't. You can post whatever you want, but people can also decide you're exhausting, unsafe, or just not worth the emotional calories. Best advice, if you care more about being right than being in relationship, cool, just stop acting shocked when relationship leaves the building.
If you don't like the consequences of your actions, one, you're not alone. And two, it's your actions that have to be looked at by you. And I wish you luck with that.
If you have lost quote-unquote friends due to your political beliefs, then, well, were they truly friends to begin with? Now, this may not be an easy thing to hear, but it is necessary to understand. If an individual is only able to love you based upon your aligned beliefs, if they can only tolerate your presence so long as you are in complete agreement with what they believe, they are not your friend. I don't care how long they've been around. I don't care what you may have gone through in the past. If that individual is too immature to have a reciprocity of love, regardless of...
Now we're talking. This woman just said something that I think both sides need tattooed on their foreheads. If you cannot step outside your own perspective and try to understand someone else, you probably shouldn't have friends, period, ET. And the point about the 14-year friendship being questioned over a ballot is genuinely heartbreaking. Like, this person has been there for half your life, through breakups, funerals, 2 a.m. texts, all of it. And now you're texting them, will you still be my friend, like you're both in 7th grade? Here's the real talk though, the MAGA guys who lost friends need to stop acting like they're the only victims here. When you celebrate loudly and gloat about your guy winning, don't be shocked when people who feel threatened by that pull back. Read the room, win with some class. That's just basic human decency.
What the belief systems may be of either individual, there is no friendship there. True and genuine friendship is based off of the goodwill of one another. You hold the best regard for the other no matter what. And so if you find yourself in a place where you are losing these so-called friends, I promise you this is a blessing, oftentimes in disguise, but you are finally getting to see the true colors of the people around you. And in this life, the people you surround yourself with are going to be the greatest impactors of the trajectory of your life. So if you're surrounded by people who are filled with hate in their heart, that's going to be the trajectory that you will be pulled towards. But instead of those people are shed from your life, this is a blessing that will allow you to purify where you stand and to move in direct alignment with the things that are absolutely best for you, the things that you are called to do from the spirit and into the flesh. And so if you are that person right now sitting at home feeling lonely, thinking to yourself, when is this person going to come back? They may have very well been a seasonal character in your life, and that's okay.
I just texted my best friend of 14 years. Literally half of my life. I'm 28. And I asked them who they voted for. They said Donald Trump. And they said, I'm assuming you voted the opposite. And I said, yes. And then my friend texted me and said, will you still be my friend?
Seems like you're...
Alright, this is the part where MAGA bros start screaming cancel culture, when really it's just consequences with better branding. Nobody owes you access after you back stuff they believe puts them at risk. That's not oppression, that's boundary math. And fellas, if multiple people keep telling you they don't feel safe around your politics, maybe stop rehearsing your comeback and audit your delivery. Do you ask questions? Do you mock them? Do you post rage bait all day? Do you make everything a loyalty test? Because a lot of y'all are not being rejected for one vote. You're being rejected for turning your whole personality into a grievance. Merch table. If you want to keep relationships, learn the skill of making people feel heard before you demand to be understood.
Friend dodged a bullet. Now, all of a sudden, we cannot align ourselves with anyone with different views. That is so small-minded, so closed-minded, especially from the group of people who say to be so accepting, so tolerant, so loving. If you can't sit there and see who this person is, see that they're a good person, see that they're a genuine friend to you, you're going to decide if you're going to be friends with them still based off who they voted for. If you're not surrounding yourself with people who think differently than you, you will never grow and you will never learn. The fact that you're throwing away a friendship of that many years over something so minute, there's a problem there. You don't have to agree with them, but being able to step outside of what you believe and trying to understand someone else.
Okay, so this section just went from a Latino content creator to a full-on family disownment story to now this man reading the riot act to Trump voters. And he lands on something that genuinely hits different. You do not get to vote for someone who brags about sexual assault and then expect every woman around you to just shrug. Like, that is a real point. That's not just political posturing, that's personal. And the Trump guys who are out here going, why is everyone so sensitive about losing relationships, bro? Women in your life are not overreacting. They are telling you exactly what that vote felt like to them. Now, whether you agree with their interpretation or not is a whole other conversation, but dismissing it as politics as usual is what's actually blowing up these friendships faster than anything else. Lead with some empathy first, argue policy second. Radical concept, I know.
This perspective is extremely important, and if you don't have those skills, then you probably shouldn't have friends. Oh, and another thing. Me and you will never be friends if you're voting for Donald Trump. Me and you will never remain friends if you're voting for Donald Trump. It's not a political difference. This is not the 2012, 2004 elections where we just disagree on how the economy should be ran. This is my life. If you are willing to vote for someone who gets to determine whether I live or die if I have complications when I have a child, you will never sit in the presence of me. I had took it off one of my closest friends because of this election. It is that deep. Anybody can go. I don't care who you think you are.
Would you throw away years of friendship because you found out your friend was a Trump supporter? So one of my friends, who's indigenous, found out that one of her friends is a Trump supporter. They've been friends about 6 or 7 years, and it just never came up in conversation. I think it could be because they might have just assumed the other one had the same.
The Nazi Germany comparison. Look, I know why people reach for it. It's meant to make you feel the stakes, but every single time someone drops that comparison in a political argument, the other side immediately shuts down, done, conversation over. And here's the thing, this woman actually makes a decent structural point underneath all the noise. She's saying you do understand the concept of cutting off people for their beliefs, you just disagree about where to draw the line. And that's actually true. Everyone has a line, even the people screaming about tolerance. But MAGA guys, this is your moment right here. If your response to losing friends is just they're overreacting, you're not actually defending your position. Defend the line like she says. Make the actual argument, because right now you're just whining about consequences.
Belief system, and it just didn't come up. Well, it came up today. So my friend said something about being upset about how Trump's administration wants to basically rewrite history and get rid of things in the African American community, in the indigenous Native community, the Mexican American community, just all of it. And then the other person went in. So my friend feels completely betrayed. She's like, how could you possibly? So she's confused. She's like, how could I have a friend who feels this way about people who look like me? So that is what she's going through. So what would you do?
So Republicans are upset because they are losing friendships, they're losing followers over their support of Donald Trump. And I just want to remind people that this is the same exact thing that happened in 2016. This is a piece I wrote for The Guardian after Trump was elected. Someone had accused me of vote shaming, and as I pointed out, it is okay to shame someone for doing something shameful. And this actually was sparked because Mike Pence had went to a performance of Hamilton, and people in the audience were not happy about it. The cast said something, I think, after the play in protest of the incoming administration, and it sparked this whole conversation about where is it acceptable to protest? Is it acceptable to socially shun Trump supporters? And of course, my answer was yes. I'm just going to read you a small section of it because I actually think it could be useful in this conversation that's happening online when you're responding to friends who accuse you of shaming them. You do not get to vote for a person who brags about sexual assault and expect that women in your life will just shrug their shoulders. You don't get to play the victim when people unfriend you on Facebook as if being disliked for supporting a bigot is somehow worse than the suffering that marginalized people will endure under Trump. And this is the most important part to me. Being socially ostracized for supporting Trump is not an infringement of your rights. It is a reasonable response by those of us who are disgusted, anxious, and afraid. And what was so ironic about this was that there was this whole conversation, because Pence was booed at a theater, about how the theater and going to enjoy art or going to a restaurant, that these should be safe spaces for people where they don't have to worry about being shamed for their politics. And like I wrote, so safe spaces are bullshit when you're talking about women who have been raped, but they're vitally important when, a powerful man who advocates conversion therapy wants to enjoy a Broadway musical. And so, yeah, you get to be shamed if you do something shameful, and you're supposed to feel uncomfortable when you do something terrible. And the only shame that we should feel is if we stop booing, if we stop pointing out that hypocrisy.
Everyone who voted for Trump and who's absolutely appalled that they're losing friends or having their friends question their morality for voting for that guy is full of shit. Right? Because you do understand it. If I dropped you off in 1940s Germany with the friends that you have now, and half of your friends decided to support Hitler and support putting Jewish people in concentration camps, I don't think you'd be friends with them. And if you said you'd be friends with them, you're lying. So the problem isn't you don't agree with the concept. The problem is you don't agree with the line that's being drawn. You don't agree with people who are drawing the line at supporting MAGA for being that line to cut you out of their life. And I don't even know if you guys are introspective enough to even know that, or if you're just plain lying to yourselves. But that's the issue. You get it. You get the concept. You don't like the line. Defend the line. Go ahead.
That question right there is the most honest thing in the clip, and low-key more self-aware than half the MAGA comment section, because at least she understood the vote might actually change how trust feels. MAGA dudes love saying, why can't we disagree and still be cool? But they skip the part where trust is built on what your choices signal. Here's the practical move. If politics is nuking a friendship, don't start with defending your side. Start with what value you think your friend believes you violated. Say it out loud. I think you feel like my vote said, I don't care about people like you. Is that what this is? That one sentence will get you further than 20 minutes of Ben Shapiro speed talking and fake confusion?
Have a good time doing it.
I've lost more friends since coming out as conservative, since coming out as a Trump supporter. What does that say about tolerance? Friend, you have every right to show up in life as you are. We just don't feel safe with you anymore.
So my parents cut me off for supporting Donald Trump. My family disowned me. My cousins don't speak to me. I'm alone in this world, but you know what? It's cool. I'm still going to fight for what I believe in, and I'm still voting for Donald Trump on November 4th. And best believe I'm going to that NYC Trump rally.
Trump supporters were very excited, exuberant, if you will, about their Lord and Savior, Dirty Diaper Donnie Trump, winning the presidential election. Yeah, they were ranting and raving and gloating and taunting. Oh, they were excited. My guy won. Oh, that's awesome. But they fucked around and found out because they got an interesting response, a response they weren't expecting. You see, after their Lord and Savior won and they wanted to celebrate with family, friends, acquaintances, they said, nah, we don't want to do that. We're cutting you out. We never want to see you or talk to you again. I'm talking friends. I'm talking family. I'm talking colleagues. I'm talking acquaintances. I'm talking kids. I'm talking grandkids. They said, fuck it. If you're going to do this, we want nothing to do with you. And of course they were taken aback and they said, oh, come on. It's just politics. We can come back and be friends. And that's where they're mistaken. Because this wasn't about politics. This was about these fucks supporting a man who was adjudicated as a rapist. A man that is misogynistic, racist, anti-Semitic, a treasonist.
Just a little message to Trump supporters getting butthurt that they're getting cut off or shunned by their family due to their vote. You do not get to vote for a man who brags about sexual assault and then expect every woman around you just to shrug their shoulders. You don't get to play victim when people...
Okay, now, this is the most honest take in the entire video so far, and I need everyone to rewind and actually listen. This woman was a diehard liberal, pink hat, CNN every day, the whole thing, and she admits she let that programming destroy her relationship with her own mother. And then she turns the camera around and says the media is intentionally keeping us divided because division is the product they're selling. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a business model. Outrage keeps you watching. Watching means ad revenue. It's that simple. The MAGA guys who lost friends and the progressives cutting people off, you are both being played by the same machine. And the saddest part is you're taking it out on each other while the people profiting from your anger are completely untouched. Think about that the next time you're about to blow up a 10-year friendship over a tweet.
Follow you off of Facebook as if being disliked for following a bigot is worse than what the marginalized people will suffer under Trump.
Hi, listen, if someone voted against your humanity, you're not going to go home and see them over Thanksgiving. You're not going to see them at Christmas. Just because, listen to me, just because someone is genetically related to you does not mean they automatically get your time, attention, respect. And to be more specific...
That's the challenge right there. And watch how fast a lot of MAGA bros tap dance around specifics. They love broad words like freedom and common sense. But when you ask where the moral line is, suddenly it's static and throat clearing. If you want people to trust your politics, be able to name your line clearly. What would make you walk away? What would make you say, nope, not backing that? Because if your answer is basically nothing as long as my team wins, people are hearing that loud and clear. And fellas, that team sports brain is exactly why people pull back. Nobody wants to feel like your loyalty to a movement outranks your loyalty to basic decency. If you can't defend the line, don't cry when people draw one around you.
Being genetically related to someone does not mean that they get your sacrifice of your respect for yourself.
I just ended my friendships with my MAGA friends on Friday after this happened, and I saw their views and how cold-blooded they were. I told them I didn't want them in my life anymore, and it's breaking my heart.
No, it's not. Nobody believes that. Because first of all, you've got to have a heart in order for it to break. And second of all, if their friendship meant that much to you, it would not be contingent on them agreeing with you. And I'm sure in your mind, it's their fault that the friendship ended, because I'm sure that you explained to them why your view on it is completely moral, and because they didn't agree with it, that makes them immoral. Therefore, you had no choice but to cut them off. They put you in that position.
I feel like they deceived me.
This one right here is actually beautifully articulated, even if I think it's a little one-sided. She's reframing the whole thing. She's saying, I didn't choose politics over family. I chose humanity over a harmful belief system. And look, I understand why that framing feels righteous and clean and morally satisfying. But the MAGA voters in this situation are looking at that exact same framing and going, wait, we think we're the ones choosing humanity. Both sides genuinely believe they're the moral ones. That's what makes this so impossibly hard. And the line, one of us did walk away, but it wasn't me, is cold. It's cutting. And honestly, she knows exactly what she's doing with that. The real question nobody's asking is, what does it cost you to be right but completely alone? Because that's where this road ends.
It made me think they were good people. But how can you be a good person when you are celebrating the death of an innocent woman?
Do we need to talk about Charlie Kirk? See, the actual definition of celebrating the death of an innocent person is getting online, dancing and singing about it, saying that they deserved it, making Halloween costumes that mimic how they died, reenacting it every opportunity that you get, and insisting that they had it coming because you didn't like what they were saying. What does not meet the definition of celebrating the death of an innocent person is simply pointing out the fact that if you drive your car at an ICE agent, the consequence for that might be that you lose your life. That's not celebrating it. That's just pointing out the facts. But I think we can all agree that your friends' lives just got a whole lot better.
Allowing this chaos to destroy our families, to destroy our friendships. How many people don't talk to someone now because of who they voted for? I mean, I know someone tonight whose child told them, you can't see my children if you go see this movie or you voted for someone. This is what has infiltrated our nation.
I allowed politics to ruin the relationship I had with my mother. That's right. For 3 years, when I was a diehard liberal, I was wearing the pink hat, I was marching against Donald Trump, I was doing all the things. I was listening to CNN every single day. And part of the program that CNN offers is telling you that people who don't think like you are bad people, they're racist people, they should all die. That is part of the program, and it is intentional so that it keeps us all divided. And during that time, my mom was conservative and I was liberal. And I literally put my mom, our relationship, I put that below my allegiance to this ideology. And it wasn't until I turned the media off that I realized it was totally a program. And that's what's happening right now. They are programming us to believe that if you're on this side, you can't get along with people on that side. And it is total bullshit. The government is the same side. It's the same wealthy technocrats that are taking over society. So we all need to start getting along so that we can be free, okay?
The same people that are saying that they're better because they don't put politics.
Bro, this Latino Trump voter section just hit me with a lot at once. And the guy giving advice here actually makes a point that I think is genuinely underrated. He's not even saying don't vote for Trump. He's saying if you have undocumented family members, maybe don't be out here screaming about it at the top of your lungs. Like, that's just basic situational awareness. Know your audience. Know who it affects. The MAGA guys who are shocked they lost family over this. Listen, if your cousin is undocumented and you're posting Trump flags all over your Instagram, what did you think was going to happen? You can vote however you want. That is absolutely your right. But actions have social weight. And if you want to keep those relationships, you've got to be willing to have the uncomfortable conversation before Election Day, not after you've already won and they're already devastated.
Politics above family are the same people that are willing to sacrifice the lives of family and neighbors in service of their ideology. I had a conversation with a family member yesterday in which I said, hey, we're on opposite sides of this sinking ship. And I don't know how we continue to have conversations. And their response was like, yeah, we are, but, you know, we're family, right? And there was a comment on my post about the collective grief of losing family to MAGA. Most of the comments were just people naming who they've lost. But one of the comments was, nobody, because I don't put politics above my family. I didn't choose politics over my family. I chose my humanity over a harmful belief system. I chose human rights for everybody over protecting one group. I chose curiosity over avoidance. I chose the safety for everyone over my own comfort. I chose reality over conspiracy theories. I chose to live in a world where we face the problems, the realities that we have, so that we can try to fix them. And you chose your rigid beliefs over other.
Okay, and we close out with something that I actually respect. Regardless of where you stand politically, she said, if I have to mute myself while you get to speak freely, that's not a friendship, that's a one-way relationship with a fancy name. And that applies to everyone in this video. Left, right, center, doesn't matter. If you're only keeping friends who agree with you, you're not building a life, you're building an echo chamber. And the MAGA guys specifically who are stunned they're getting cut off. Here's your honest mirror moment. Did you make space for the other person's fear? Or did you just celebrate your win and expect everyone to get over it? Because being on the winning side doesn't automatically mean you get to skip the emotional labor of maintaining actual human relationships. You want the friendships back. Start with, I hear you, not you're being dramatic. That's the move.
People's safety. You chose your own comfort over the humanity of others. You chose conspiracy theories that let you feel self-righteous over living in an uncomfortable reality. One of us did walk away, but it wasn't me.
Okay, so on top of losing friends, we have my family, who I'm the only conservative Republican in my family. My family is traditionally Democrat.
This is where it gets real, because now it's not abstract politics. It's family identity, culture, history, all that. And MAGA bros are terrible at reading the room here. They treat voting like it exists in a vacuum when families hear it through generations of lived experience. You may think you cast one ballot, but your people might hear, I dismissed what scares you. So if you're trying to keep the bridge, stop leading with, I can vote for whoever I want. Everybody knows that already. Lead with, I know this landed hard. Tell me what you think my choice said about me. That is how adults talk, not this chest-out freedom speech, where you act baffled that your aunties don't want to hear your hot takes next to the potato salad.
A mother who, my birth mother, my mother that kind of raised me passed recently. But I have a birth mother who totally doesn't understand anything that I have going on. I mean, she doesn't like hate me, but she's not with it. My aunts, many of them who are AKA like Kamala Harris, have totally disowned me. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm rolled out of all their wheels at this point. They don't understand me. They say that, same thing. I've sided with white supremacists. I'm racist. What happened? I was born Democrat. Nobody is born Democrat. I'm born to choose to vote for whoever I want to. I don't care who's in my family. I have a lot of professors and scholars, but it doesn't matter.
This Latina content creator right here voted for Donald Trump, and her terminally ill father ended up getting deported. And now this story is going viral on the internet because people are using this as a way to attack people who voted against their own self-interest. Right? And I gotta talk to my Latino people here, the people that voted for Donald Trump but have undocumented immigrants in their own families. It's like, listen, man, I get it. You have your own personal political beliefs and you have every right to have them, right? But sometimes in life it's good to be self-aware. Sometimes in life is very good to think of, okay, this may not affect me personally, right? But can it possibly negatively affect people around me? And if the answer is yes, man, sometimes it's best to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna stay out of this one. Because if this ends up being you, man, you're gonna lose your whole family behind it, man. They already didn't like you for the fact that you was already voting over there, and now you went and casted your vote, gave them a helping hand, and then we lose pops, or we lose moms, or we lose our uncle, or you lose a sibling. And if you do want to vote, you don't have to speak about it. Vote privately. Don't tell nobody, right? But a lot of y'all men came out here screaming at the top of y'all lungs, man, like, nah, we gotta get Trump in there. Knowing y'all undocumented fucking parents, bro, or relatives or friends. That's just my take. I believe in self-awareness, man. I believe that being self-aware is very important. And yeah, shit's crazy.
I lost quite a bit of friends in 2025, and it's because I voted for Trump. Okay, no, but for real, I'm talking about friends that I have traveled the world with, friends that I have a 10+ year rapport with, friends that I've gone to church with, friends that I've shared a meal with. And it's not because I became this extreme radicalized person. It's simply because I stopped being passive. I started being more vocal about politics, policies, social norms, my faith. And it was when I started speaking out on a platform where I started being more vocal, when I started pushing back, when I started challenging people. That's where I started to.
And there it is, the phrase that tells on a lot of MAGA personalities, challenging people. Because some of y'all don't communicate, you provoke, and then you call the The fallout persecution. There's a huge difference between expressing a belief and turning every friendship into a live debate audition. If people keep fading after you get more vocal, ask yourself whether you became clearer or just more combative. Did you start speaking with conviction, or did you start farming reactions because conflict made you feel important? Hard truth. Being louder does not make you braver. Sometimes it just makes you harder to love in real life.
See relationships switch. I'm not gonna lie, at first it was extremely hurtful to see like the friends that you have sat down with and you've shared certain things with just like all of a sudden ostracize you because of your political views. But what I've learned is that if you are within any friendship where you feel like you have to mute yourself, you have to be passive, they could say all of the things that they support, they could talk about all of the social norms that they support, and you feel like you have to silence yourself, that may not be a friendship worth having. Friends that I have in my life right now know exactly where I stand. Even if we do not agree with each other, they know where I stand and we respect each other's views. It really just motivated me to keep going, keep using my voice when it's appropriate. Honestly, if I'm not able to be vocal about the things that I value, just like you are able to be vocal about the things you value, if it is not a two-way street, then it is not a friendship worth having for me.
I get asked a lot about what to do with MAGA family members.
So here's where we landed. Trump voters losing friends, progressives cutting people off, families fracturing over ballots, and everybody convinced they're the righteous one in the story. The truth is messier than any of these videos want to admit. Some of these relationships probably needed to end, some of them didn't, and a whole lot of them got sacrificed on the altar of being right instead of being connected. The media profits when you hate your neighbor. The politicians profit when you're scared of your cousin. And meanwhile, real human beings are sitting alone at Christmas wondering how it got this bad. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Is there a line for you? A political belief that would make you cut off someone you genuinely love? And where did that line come from? Think about it. Drop it below, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.